Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Darrell. So, first of all, let me say this. I'm excited. I don't get excited often, but I'm a little excited because this is something I've been working on for quite some time. In essence, I've been working on it for a couple of years, but it's just been behind the scenes. Nobody really knew about it. And today we finally gotten to a point that I'm actually ready to launch. So, there are there are a lot of people in here for a Tuesday afternoon. I didn't expect this many people because we're not just in Zoom. I noticed that a lot of people hopped on inside of the Quantum Wellness Portal. So we are streaming in both places right now. We're in the Quantum Wellness Portal, we are in Zoom. I do want to say to those members who are in the Quantum Wellness Portal, if you want to ask questions, you need to hop on over to the Zoom. If you're just watching, you can watch from within the Quantum Wellness Portal and you all can even talk amongst yourselves. But I won't really be able to monitor that. So, yeah, if you really want, if at any point you want to ask questions, hop on over to the Zoom at the very top of the Quantum Wellness Portal, or maybe it's the bottom if you're on the app. There is a link and it shows you how to get into Zoom. All right, so we are here today to talk about our healthy eating hub. We're going to reveal it to the world, as it were. Couple of things, couple of notes that I want to get over. For those of you who are new to these classes that I do, you don't know the rules. We have a bunch of new. We actually had a bunch of new members to the Quantum Wellness Portal over the last 3 days. So I find myself repeating this over and over. And then also we have some people that jumped into this particular live from another mentorship group that I'm in, health coaches and dietitians. So they don't know the rules either. So when you are over here, if you want to ask a question, it's simple. You just go down and click reactions and raise your hand. Or if you want to type your question, go ahead and type it in the chat. But my chat seems to get out of control and people are talking to one another, which is great. I encourage that. But before you ask your question, type the letters QQ. Just type QQ and then a space and type whatever you want. And then when I get over to questions, that will allow me to bring that question into the discussion in a different way because I can isolate those letters. All right. Anything else that I want to get over? I don't think so. Let's just get into it. So, we're in a brand new Quantum Wellness Portal. For those of you who are new, you don't know about the old one. You might have heard me talking about it a bit. But in the old Quantum Wellness Portal, we did have recipes. We had a recipe collection section. And from that, you could search through recipes. Well, you really couldn't search through recipes. You could filter through recipes. And you could make some meal plans, but then you would have to go through and clear all of the meal plans, and you could email yourself recipes, but you couldn't save any recipes. And it worked for the session that we were in, but I knew that it wasn't going to work long term. Now, even when the other Quantum Wellness Portal was launched, the old one, inside of Practice Better, even then, I was working on what I'm about to show you now. I've been working on this literally for years. And I've been working with the people that make this, and they've been making changes. And I've been utilizing this. It's not that it's just been sitting there. I've been utilizing it in practice, in my own practice, sometimes with individual clients, or sometimes I would pull from these recipes in order to create a recipe book or a recipe collection. But it wasn't, from my perspective, ready to be rolled out to clients. It was not. It was almost ready when the new Quantum Wellness Portal launched, but there were some specific things that I needed in there. And they said, okay, we'll do those things and it will be ready by February. Well, it wasn't ready by February 1st, which is the reason that we're 10 days into this, and that's ready. So I'm going to walk through this with you. And I admit there's going to be some sloppiness to some of this because I am learning. I mean, this has changed so much in the last 30 days that I am even keeping up. So this won't be a deep dive. We will come back for another deep dive soon. Now, in my practice, I'm not a dietitian. I am not a a person that can prescribe meal plans. I'm a naturopath. And my goal is to educate my clients with the information so that they can make their own decisions about what they're going to eat. I mean, I might give some suggestions here or there when they ask, but I wanted all recipe types to be available. So if you are a vegetarian, if you are a vegan, if you do paleo, if you need low inflammation, I needed all of those types available to you so that you can filter through and figure out exactly what you need. That was available in the old plan. That's available in the new plan. But in the old system, everything was segmented. If you were vegetarian, if you were vegan, if you were paleo, you had to deal with different recipe collections, but then deal with different meal planners. And it wasn't made in a way that gave you total control. You almost had to decide how you were eating that day. And it wasn't something that you could incorporate with your family. And so that leads us to the Healthy Eating Hub that we are presenting to you today. Now, for those of you, and this is a premium feature, this is only going to be accessible to those of you who have premium plans. And the very first time you go in there, you will have to establish an account. It's a different link, it's a different service. It's available to you. You're not paying anything additional. But because you're going to be holding your own database individually inside of a database that I have created, you have to establish credentials the first time. After that, you don't anymore. And it doesn't constantly log you out. So most of the time when you go back, you're not even going to have to. If you go back within 30 to 60 days, I don't think you'll ever have to log in unless you're on a completely different computer, and you'll be able to link back through there through the Quantum Wellness portal. So the first time you go, you're going to need to create your account. You need to use the same email address that you have on file at the Quantum Wellness portal. Whatever your membership is, your premium membership, you need to use that email address. Create a password. It doesn't have to be the same. I mean, hopefully it is so you'll remember it, but create your password. And then they're going to ask you questions. Now, you can skip these questions, but my suggestion is for you to take the time to answer the questions because they want to know how many people are in your family. Do you have dietary restrictions? Those are specifically set to make what I'm about to show you easier. So if you have a person in your family that is vegetarian or vegan, then you want to just exclude other recipes that are not that for that person when you're searching for that particular person. And that's going to help you do that. If you click skip, there is a way to go back and do it later. Again, we're going to do deep dives later. Today is going to be a surface level. And right now, as we get over into this, we are going to assume that you've already completed that part. Now, I purposely haven't given you the links yet because I want you to pay attention to me for a minute. But at the end of this, your portal will have access to these links where you all can go in there, do this for yourselves, and you'll have access to the archives. And all of our visitors who are here, who are not part of the Quantum Wellness portal, I'll make sure you get the archives as well. So let's get into the new hub. This is what the surface of it looks like. What you see there at the top is, of course, logo, my picture. And when you first log on, you're going to be on the recommendations page or recipe collections and other things. So I'm going to walk you through this specific page. Let me just say this page has several parts to it. And this will always be there on the recommendations page. We're going to go through this side panel in a second, but I want to walk through the recommendations page first. It has the recipe collections at the top. And as we scroll down, you're going to see meal plans. I'm going to come back to this because I need to show you how you would utilize this. And you're going to have resources. Now, these resources are just articles that have been curated, and everything that you're going to see here will evolve. We're going to have more. Since we are in here, though, let's just take a look at what some of these recipe collections are. So let's say smoothie bowls. It's a collection of recipes of smoothie bowls. I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. And you have a bunch of different recipes. If you find one that you like, you can click it and get more information about it. This one has 14 ingredients. It takes about 5 minutes to make. It's about 250 calories, 5 minutes prep time, 0 cook time because well, it's raw. So how could there be any cook time, right? And so you have 2 servings. Let me just show you something really, really quickly while you are here. And I'm going to be showing you little tidbits as we go on. I'm going to click on more options. One of the things that we can do is scale this recipe. So right now, it's targeted for 2 people, but you might be having a little party. And you might have 10 people there. And notice every time I click up, you will see the measurements at the bottom. They all change. I'm going to click scale this recipe, and now it's going to show you all of this again from the amount of recipes that you've scaled it for. All right. Let me go back over here to the recommendations page, and let's scroll down here to salad dressing. Again, this is salad dressings, and I just really want to be clear. We're not looking at all of the salad dressings that you have access to. When you are in the recipe collections section, what you are looking at here are recipes that I have put together around a theme. So these are just salad dressings that I put together. Like, this is just stuff I like. So you can just ignore it if it's not stuff you like. You know why? Because now you're going to be able to make your own recipe collections. This is just giving you an idea. And so these are salad dressings that I find somewhat scrumptious. So you can either take them and utilize them, or you can completely dismiss them. And so as you scroll through here, you'll find a bunch of different recipe collections. Again, recipe collections are recipes that are themed around a topic. All right, so let's go back over here to the recommendations page, and let's look at one of the other areas of that, which are meal plans. So let's see. Here's a Dr. Daryl's 30 minutes or less meal plans. Just like everything else, when you're looking at these meal plans, what you're looking at are meal plans that I have put in here just as a recommendation. If this concept meets something that you're doing or something that you need, and you could utilize these recipe collections for that. But you're going to be able to make, or meal plans, but you're going to be able to make your own. So these just become an idea of sorts, but some of them might actually fit. So I'm going to click on this 30 minutes or less. And the first thing you're going to see are, this is Monday, and this is what we have on tap for Monday: breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. Tuesday, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. Wednesday, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. If you decide that this recipe collection as you go through it is something that you want to utilize, you just click schedule. I'm not going to click schedule yet because I haven't gotten that far, but I'm giving you a concept of how all of this works so that when we get over to the schedule, I'm going to come back in here, and that's going to be able to let you see what else we're doing. So here is the next portion of that, which is schedule. Because we haven't scheduled anything under this profile, it's always going to take you to the week that you are in, and you're going to see that it's completely blank. We're going to fill that in as we go along. And so let's come down here to shopping. We're looking at the left side navigation. Because we don't have anything in the schedule, there is no grocery list. So there's nothing to see here. Recipes. Now, when we get over here, we are looking at the recipes that you can look through and search through. And then we have recipe collections, and you see this is empty. When you get on recipe collections, you will see that it's empty because this particular profile hasn't made any recipe collections, and all of you will have pretty much a blank slate here when you first start. Recipe collections are going to be empty because you haven't made any, but we're going to make some while we're here, and you'll see them pop up there. Last thing is subscriptions. Subscriptions is something that you won't have to worry about because of the way our portal is set up. I want to go over here to recipes in order to really get us started. I realize that this says 4,060 results. So that actually is going to change to close to 10,000. I made a change, and I know what I did. I know what I did wrong, but I made a change in the system before we started, which took away about 5,000 recipes from. You still have access to them, but I took them away from this area. So when we're done, I will have that fixed. I'm showing you that so you'll see that there will be a difference when you actually go. That number will be a little bit different because I know exactly how to get back in there and do that. All right, let's start looking for stuff. So when you get to this page, you're just basically scrolling and you have pretty much a limitless amount of recipes. And when you get to the bottom, if you just wait, it will start repopulating with more. But that's just too many recipes to start to filter. So there's a few ways that we can filter this. We can filter it by meal types. And we have appetizer, beverage, breakfast, condiment, dessert, lunch, main, salad, side, snack, soup. All right, so let's go ahead and choose lunch. I'm gonna just click lunch and apply. And now with that, we have narrowed that down significantly, and we can scroll through just to see whether or not there's anything on the lunch menu that meets our fancy. Now, we might look through this and say, well, it's not narrowed down enough for me. So let's go back in there and narrow it down just a little bit more. I'm going to go back up top, and I am going to filter it by dietary. I'm going to actually add in something else. All right, let's say, what are we going to do? Let's make this gluten-free. So we have, and I'm going to click apply. And now here are our filters that we have here. We have something that's tagged as lunch and that's gluten-free. And so let's look at, see what grabs my attention here. Chia pesto zucchini noodles with salmon. No, you know what? I don't ever like seafood. I can't even pretend. All right, let's look at this vegetable frittata. So 10 ingredients. Takes about 15 minutes to make, 195 calories, 5 minutes of prep, 10 minutes of cook time. Serves 2. I think that I want to go ahead and do this. I think I want to utilize this particular recipe that you see here. I don't necessarily want to scale it. I'm going to utilize it as it is. So well, there are a couple of options. One, I can just look at the recipe and I could print it out from here if I really wanted to, but let's go ahead and click on more options. And if I wanted to, I could download the PDF of this recipe. So I'm just going to click download PDF. I'm going to say I do want the image. I want the healthy insights. If there are other things in the check mark here that I want, I can do that. And I'm going to click create PDF. Now it tells you where you're going to find that PDF. Your PDF is being generated. In the top right-hand corner under your name, you'll see generated PDF files. Unlike before where you had to wait until the PDF came to your email, here you still have to wait because it's being generated, but they're stored for a couple of days inside of your own account. And we'll go in there a couple of minutes. So that's one thing that I could have done with that. Another thing that I could do to that is I could add it to a collection. Let's do that. I'm going to click on more options and I'm going to say add this to collection. Now I don't have any collections to add it to because I haven't made one yet. So I'm going to click create new. Hey, what's going on here? Let me see. What happens if I just put add? All right, let me cancel this. All right, I'm going to come back to the collections. See? Bug we may have found a glitch, or we may have found something that I don't even understand yet. So we'll come back to that. Let's see what else we can do. More options. No, not more options. Schedule. I'm going to click on schedule. When I click on schedule, it's now going to open up in this week's schedule. So I'm really just, or this month's, this week's schedule, I'm really just deciding where I want it. If I want it this week, then let's say I want it Saturday for lunch. I can actually click the plus button, get out of this. I can click the plus button, and I'm deciding if I'm going to put it in the Daryl is the one who's eating. There are no extra guests, no servings to feed, and I'm just going to click on finish. And now if you look at Saturday the 14th, vegetable frittata is actually listed there. It's the only thing that's listed there because it's the only thing that we have done. Now, while I am on this, and you can always get here by clicking on schedule on the left side, while I'm here, let me just find a breakfast for Saturday because from this same view, I can add my breakfast. On the breakfast tab, I'm just going to click add a meal. And now I'm back inside of the recipes and the filter for breakfast is already applied. Now, let's say, for example, that at the very beginning, when I told you that you've got to fill out your profile, let's say I put there that I was a vegan. Since I am utilizing this for Daryl, it would automatically filter it again by the type of food. Since I did not have any restrictions on the meal plan for the profile that I'm on, then it's just filtering it by that one thing that we're looking for, breakfast. Now, if you are like me and you realize that the concept of breakfast food in the morning is just a made up thing, and you just want to just get out of that and have all of the recipes available to you, you can click this X next to breakfast and it will take you back to all of the recipes. All right, so it's narrowed it down for breakfast, and I can scroll through and I can even do more search. Let's say you wanted chicken. I can do that search, and I included chicken. I left it for breakfast, and I am now um, dealing with recipes that have that in it. I don't like any of those, so I'm going to exclude that particular conclusion and find a breakfast that I might like. Spinach, bell pepper, and tomato omelet. I'm going to go ahead and put a check mark there. Now, I could go back. Uh, when I put that there, it literally changed the, oh, here it is. Here it is. Sorry. I'm back here and I'm going to click schedule and finish. But it was on that particular one. So again, this is another example of a change that was made because it wasn't like that before. And so you actually have to click inside of there and click schedule. And so what I've basically done now is I have 2 entries on here for Saturday and Sunday of the 14th. If I click this arrow, I can go, let me click back here. If I click the arrow, I can go into following weeks. And so if I know that this is something that I want in later weeks, I can just click the arrow to the right and get to the following week. Now, I believe that if I just go back to schedule, it's going to, no, it's going to left me where I was at. So let me arrow back over to this week and you will see these here. Now, when I click on shopping, you'll see that there are things in the shopping list. And now, as I look in the shopping list, there's beverage, there's condiments, there's dairy, herbs and spices, and vegetables. The shopping list is always going to be based off of what I have in the schedule for this particular week. And if there is something here that I already have, then see. All right. All right. I'm not going to bore you with what I don't already know. There is a way to edit the shopping list, but that too has been updated. So when we go into our deep dives, or you all will find it as you're inside of there, then you will be able to do the shopping list or edit the shopping list. However, your shopping list, in essence, will be specific to the ingredients or the things that you actually put inside of the schedule or inside of your pulled inside of your schedule. Let's go ahead and go back over to recipes. And so I am going to remove this filter that I had. And in fact, let's go down here to recipe collections. And let me see. So we don't have any recipe collections here. And I'm going to click on create. And I'm going to create my own recipe collection. And at the top, it says unnamed collection. I'm going to name it Daryl's Lunch. Now I can go ahead and give it a fancy description. I can make it private or public. Public or private would mean whether or not your other members who are inside of this area of the Quantum Wellness Portal, whether or not they'll be able to see it if they start looking for it. And I'm going to save it. Now it's there, but there are no recipes in it. I can click add recipes and I can start looking at things that I might actually want to add to it. I'm going to go over here to all, or I can go back down here to recipes and let's do that same meal types, lunch, apply, and let's just pick a couple of things. Honey mustard turkey spinach sandwich, turkey taco wraps. If you'll notice, in this, I'm doing it fast. I'm not clicking in the specific recipes. I'm just clicking inside of the little box and putting a check mark inside of there. Red lentil, Asian chicken, earth salad, chia pesto. And I'm going to click on this add to button. And I'm going to add it to this collection that we're in. Now Daryl's Lunch is now populated with things. And I'm going to just get back out of there, go to recommendations, go down to recipe collections. Before we went to recipe collections, there was nothing here. Now we have Daryl's Lunch. So when we click on that, you will see the recipes that are there. And that will be your easy way to get back into the recipes that you have saved there. And again, the amount of recipes that you see that are accessible will a little bit more than double in shortly after this particular class is over with. All right. So let's go back in here and let's do some more things. Now let's go back over here to the recommendations page. This is where you have some of my things. And let's scroll down here to meal plans. All right. Somebody that you know ends up with the big C. And you might decide, well, let me just create some vegetarian meal plans for them. And let me look and see what Daryl has. Now, this is vegetarian meal plans for cancer. One of the things that is known, I didn't invent this. I'm not making this up. I am not the one saying it. I'm repeating it. But when people have this particular issue, very often animal flesh continues to feed that process. And there are a lot of doctors who tell people remove animal proteins from your system to give your cells the best chance of kicking that out. If that ends up being somebody you know, then this might come in handy. So let's look at this. So we are looking at this, and there are breakfast, lunch, and dinner in here for various days. And let's say that we are going to take this recipe collection, or excuse me, this meal plan, and make it into a schedule. I'm going to go ahead and click schedule because I'm going to utilize this as is. When do you want to start? Monday next week? Or Monday this week? Monday next week? Monday the week after? Or we pick a date? I'm just going to pick a date and let's go into April. Let's start it on April 6th and click schedule. Who is it for? Well, this is only one profile that I have in here. There are no guests that I'm going to be cooking this for, and I'm just going to click go. And now it is preparing that particular meal plan. It's preparing it and it's putting it at that date that we actually started. So when you actually get there, you'll be able to look at that and see that that particular meal plan is there and starting at that time. Let's go back over here to the same page. And as we're looking at recipe collections, these are recipe collections that I have put together. But if you like any of these recipe collections, you are able to well, there are two things you can do. Let's see. One, you can click follow this collection, recipe collection, which means you'll be notified anytime I add a recipe to that collection. But let's say you like recipes that are in here, but you don't want to be fumbling around in what I do. And let's say this butternut black rice and kale bowl with tahini sauce is one of those things. I'm going to click on more options and I'm going to click add to collection. And now I'm going to click on the down button and I'm going to add it to my own collection. And I'm going to click add. And now done. So in essence, what I did was I went through Daryl's collections that are there as a suggestion. I found recipes from Daryl's collection, but I don't want to be at the whim of Daryl because he might not like this recipe next week and he might remove it from the collection. And if he's removed it from the collection and I don't add it to my collection first, then it's gone. Or save it as a favorite, which is what we're going to get to next, then it's gone. This gives you the total control that you can pull it over into your database in order to save it for yourself. You can have as many recipe collections as you want. You can have as many favorites as you want. Let's get to favorites now. So I'm going to head back on over here. Let's go back over here to recipes, actually. And I'm going to go by meal types. And I'm going to put main and apply. Now we're just going to look at just main meals. Some of these main meals, you'll notice that they're the same as lunch because they're tagged, multiple times. All right, I am prone to vegetarian dishes, so let's do this green powerhouse. If we look here and we happen to like this particular recipe and we want to add it to our favorites, then I can just click this button. It's literally clicking the heart button is as easy as it is to add a recipe to favorites, and I can go back and do that really as many times as I want. I do want to come over here and show you really quickly. I'm clicking on my name where the drop down menu is here, and I'm going to go to generated PDF files. And you're going to see, well, this is a recipe collection that I downloaded earlier today. Was it one? Yeah, this was earlier. And then this vegetable frittata. And I can now click download PDF and it opens up in a beautiful PDF file that you can then save or print. Now, earlier today, I downloaded this recipe collection. So I'm going to download that PDF and you'll see that it is much longer. It is anytime you download a recipe collection, it gives you all of the recipes that were in that collection. And that's going to be, and also with the grocery list, because that's how I downloaded it. And it's also going to download it with whether it's your collection or not. So when you make your own collections, if you want to save them, you simply generate a PDF file for it, and then you can then go inside of there when it's done. The bigger the download, the longer it's going to take. But when it's there, I think you have 48 hours to actually go in there and download it. And if you don't make it, it will expire, but then you can just regenerate it again. All right, let me look here and see what else I wanted to get over to you before I started taking questions. Let me look at something else here. Give me 1 second, everybody. All right. All right. So I think that is, now that I'm looking at all of this, that is enough to get us started. So in just a short time, I am going to open up this for those of you who are in the premium, so you can go in there, click around, start utilizing this, utilizing it for yourself, your clients, whoever it is that you want to utilize it for, and grab and play, create your account, and just kind of go crazy. Um, I am going to open this up for questions. If anybody is inside of the Zoom that has one, go ahead and click on reactions and raise your hand. I'm going to come over here to our chat because I can already see that there were some there. Hang on. Let's see. Amy. Amy says, can you schedule for each individual family member also? You can. You just have to add them inside of there as your profile. All right. Are we able to copy a week of recipes and move to another week? By the way, I love this feature before and look forward to the updates. Are we able to copy a week of recipes and move it to another week? I don't know. That is a good question. I don't know. But I will find out and update you inside of our quantum wellness portal because I don't know the answer to that. I know that you didn't used to be able to, but I don't know whether or not they've actually updated that and made it so that you could. I'm going to just take a peek over here inside of the quantum wellness portal and see whether or not there's anything happening. All right, so there's nothing happening in the chat there. All right, so this concludes the first walkthrough. We will be doing more of a deep dive as people get into this and start utilizing it more. So if there are no other questions, I will go ahead and close it out. Going once, going twice, I'm going to just wait. Because, see, this is the point that everybody always asks questions. Literally, right when I say that I'm ending. And it doesn't look like there are. All right. So this walkthrough is going to be inside of the Quantum Wellness Portal within the next hour or so. Those of you who are watching this live, clearly it's there. If you are a premium member, by the time you see this, you'll see the link that will allow you to get signed up. Go in there. I strongly recommend that anybody that you think you might be cooking for, just add them while you are starting out. It only takes a couple of extra minutes, um, and it will allow you things there. Within 1 minute of ending this, the in the quantum wellness portal on the side inside you'll see a new tab. Actually, the tab is already there, and it's called Healthy Eating Hub. You'll see it there. It is, where is it? It is under, it's under the mastery section, Healthy Eating's Hub. But it's blank right now, and you'll see that populated shortly. All right, thank you all for being with me. Ask questions inside of the quantum wellness portal as they come up, and I will talk to you all in the next class. Thanks.